Hmm. Very interesting. Hey everybody, welcome to season one, review one of. I don't know why I'm not gonna keep track of the number of these. I don't know why I said that. Welcome to Ham watches movies and then puts them into some sort of a review format before he cuts them down, uploads it to YouTube so that you can watch it. It's the only show where Ham reviews movies. Today, I'm Ham, and this is Puppet Master. Puppet Master. Direct-to-video 1989, Full Moon was headed in a new direction to create low-budget horror and science fiction films. It was successful and moved to a pure cult status, a near endless number of confusing at best sequels with varying degrees of quality. The canon will go on to be quite confusing as well. But today, it's all about part one. Puppet Intro is super on the nose for being a puppet movie. The music will stay with you. It still gets in my head all these years later. Even when I hear tunes that kind of remind me of it, I will think about this endlessly. Maybe gets a little bit long. Gorgeous Hotel, 1939. I just love the setting for this. Hickey is playing Andre Toulon. He is touching up Jester the Puppet. Blade the Puppet scouts some suspiciously stereotypical looking German people from the 1930s. Well, it turns out they are in fact German. Maybe gets a little bit long. Frantic Blade gets back to the puppeteer. It's time to be hidden with the other puppets. The men reach Andre Toulon just in time for him to make himself kind of useless to them at this point. Present day 1989-ish, he is waking up from a dream where he is told he cannot save a woman from being shot, then has a ton of leeches on him, and now everything is gone. This dude has terrible dreams. A couple sees a fortune teller, the couple seems to set the bar of unattainable goals at jobs in retail, the bad fortune teller chokes herself to the thought that a very tiny person will slit her throat, so then we move on to Psychic 3 and to Psychic 4, and they are... I think we know what's going on here, right? This is the third Psychic in a row. So obviously they're trying to rush through introduction of 4 psychics over 3 psychic scenes. Psychic 1 and Psychic 3 and 4 have all had calls about puppets. You may feel like it's a bit rushed how they moved through 4 psychic introductions who suddenly need to find puppets. Do you think it's feeling a bit coincidental? Me too. So Neil foretells of Team Psychic's appearance before his death being apparently himself. He didn't want to be buried so that the team had a possibility to sit with his body before he... whatever. They confirm he is very dead. Turns out Alex is a partner of old Mr. Stiff. Dana tells the maid to avoid fireplaces and freaks her out. Alex sees more of his murder dream, and Carissa sees Neil elevator rocking. Pinhead arrives! He was in the coffin for some reason. Group meets at dinner, not this one. We realize that Megan was being used by Neil for her hotel. Neil was apparently not a very good guy. He brought this group together to eventually help him find the secret to eternal life, and then apparently screwed each one of them over. So 20 couple minutes into this movie, and they've actually explained some of the big coincidences that they had problems with. It's actually tied up and cleaned up pretty quickly. Actually, it all kind of makes sense in a B-flick horror movie sort of way. Movies like this in the 80s didn't tend to make a lot of sense, so there's a kind of brilliance in the way that this one's done. But the maid apparently does not take the advice very seriously. She goes straight for the fireplace, almost no time after this crazy woman told her not to. They really play the drama of the first kill very well, although it looks very terrible. Neil seems to have everybody freaked out. Alex is trying to get more information from Megan. Dana is trying some protection spells. Frank and Carissa are trying to help by some naughtier experiments. Blade and Tunneler are now peeping on everyone. Carissa thinks they might be in danger, so she leaves Frank tied up and helpless on the bed. Tunneler weirdly handles her without a sound. Puppet Death 2 is another that could have taken 2 minutes to maybe stop, think, and do something 10 times better. Leech Woman is gross. She spits leeches on Frank. Leech to death. It's gross. Also the best puppet kill so far. Alex turns down Dana, and now she is vulnerable. The Pinhead fight is awesome. She narrowly escapes Blade, and then she's cornered in the elevator. A few good shots from Pinhead, and then Blade finishes off the job. Finally, the amazing puppet kill we've been waiting for. Now, only Alex remains. Megan stops in to gather Alex and show him something. The only thing left to cover is the dream that he had multiple times and referenced over and over, and yup, here we are again. It's all a dream. followed by several heads sticking out of the bottom of his bed. Megan swings back in to gather Alex. She has to show him something. Alex seems to have broken his psychic connection to this dream and decides that they need to get out of here immediately. And now they run into the real life Neil. Well, not life. Well, not real Neil. It's a fake Neil. This is a reanimated Neil. This is a Neil that was dead and now is not dead. Yeah. And he's going to live forever unless there is a total destruction of his body, which is something that Alex is not capable of doing himself. He tosses Jester aside and then goes into some dialogue about parent killing and manipulating other women. Then he hits Megan, sets off the puppets, and goes into a very sloppy fist fight with Alex for some reason. It just doesn't feel like part of a good plan for a guy who has completely fleshed out this whole brilliant scheme of dying and being reborn. Sorta. I don't know. Neil clumsily falls into the elevator. The puppets each take turns killing him in their own special way. It ends up in not the definition I would use for a total destruction of the body, but it's pretty good. And everyone is happy. Then the dog reanimates in Megan's hands, and you go, that doesn't make sense. The end. So here's where it gets messy. The movie itself still is so much fun to watch. Why is it so much fun? It's interesting. The characters are still so different, and the story feels like it's such a small part of a much greater tale to tell. We find out over the next 30 years, that's very true. The show could have done with more of an effort on the death scenes. Some of the things the puppets do are silly, and they look silly. You have to remember, it's a silly B-flick direct-to-video 80s horror movie, and it's everything that it's supposed to be. These movies were made to be interesting, to hold your attention, not to be big budget, not to blow your mind, but to be interesting, and to be something that you can look back on and say, that freaked me out a bit. So, I love it. Puppet Master is the first horror movie that we're talking about here, and it's going to go on the first scale for horror movies of yesteryear. I think there's no way this movie can get below an A-. If you like silly horror movies and really well-constructed ideas and some sweet, sweet puppet murder, then this is absolutely the film for you. I've been Ham. I'm still Ham, and I will be Ham tomorrow. Enjoy the movie and have a great day.